Hey, happy holidays to you and yours. It's Michael. And with the UFC being on vacay for the next couple of weeks, and me being a degenerate with nothing to do but watch fights, I did want to focus on a couple fights in the UFC's last event of the year, and in particular, the Derrick Lewis fight and the Wonder Boy fight. But for this video, we're going to focus on Derrick Lewis, which is obviously why the title is the title. Now, Derrick Lewis is often thought of as the dude who is always getting his ass kicked until he isn't. And somehow, some way, he ends up getting a highlight reel knockout. And I'm not going to lie to you, in some ways, that thought process is correct. But there is a method to the madness in the way Derrick Lewis operates, and I'm going to show you the keys to his success. Now, don't get it twisted. Derrick Lewis is oftentimes flat-footed, defensively irresponsible, and limited in his offensive skill set. But there are two things that Derrick Lewis does really well: timing and something coaches like to call closing the door. Let's focus on the timing aspect. Now, this is one of the more maddening things about Derrick Lewis, is that when he is getting worked over, he's actually, in his own weird way, getting a beat on his opponent's timing. An example of what I'm talking about here is that infamous Curtis Blaydes fight where he throws that uppercut and knocks Curtis Blaydes out stiff. But I don't think any fight exemplifies Derrick Lewis's really good timing and his ability to make reads like this Chris Daukaus fight. And we could talk about his left hook that he lands, and we'll get into it. But the one aspect I actually do want to show is the switch high kick Derrick Lewis throws. The switch high kick is a staple of Derrick Lewis's offense that, honestly, 99.9% of the time does not work out for him. It is probably the most useless move in all of MMA because Derrick Lewis throws it naked. But in this fight, it worked, and I want to show you why. Right when Derrick Lewis throws his switch high kick, notice the positioning of Chris Daukaus' feet. They're square. See, Chris Daukaus has this habit where he'll actually square his feet up or outright cross them when he's about to start an exchange. And I think the reason why is he's trying to initiate an L step for movement. But this is something you probably don't want to do because when you're square, you're not ready to defend. In particular, you're not ready to defend a takedown, and you're probably not going to be ready to defend any kicks coming round. Like, for example, the switch high kick. And this is something that, again, in Derrick Lewis's own weird way, he kind of picked up on. As a result, for the first time ever, like it was a Christmas miracle, Derrick Lewis actually threw and landed this switch high kick to great effect. Even though Chris Daukaus got a guard up, it wasn't enough for the power that Derrick Lewis possesses in his hands and his feet. And you could tell noticeably that Chris Daukaus was loopy after this kick landed to the point where he is just trying to get away. And that's where this second thing that Derrick Lewis does really well came into fruition. And it's something that we like to call closing the door. Closing the door is a term that my coach liked to use to explain hurting somebody in the direction you want them to go towards so that you can land a big punch or a kick on that side they're going to where they can't avoid it. An example of what I'm talking about is when Paulo Costa likes to throw that roundhouse kick to the body when he has you backed up against the cage. In a lot of fights, Derrick Lewis is actually closing the door when an opponent is not ready for it, either trying to get them going to their left or going to the right to maximize his power, which is often really impressive because everyone knows he's going to throw overhands and looping punches. However, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, he was absolutely at his best doing this in the Chris Daukaus fight because notice what he does here. He cuts Daukaus off to his left deliberately, throws a left hook to get Chris Daukaus going to his right to herd him into that powerful big right hand, and that was the beginning of the end. This really got me out of my chair, and it was a really impressive thing to do, and overall, a really impressive performance by Derrick Lewis against a rising and talented prospect in Chris Daukaus. Now, don't get twisted, a lot of MMA fans, including myself, like to harp on the fact that Derrick Lewis has a limited striking tool set and is defensively irresponsible. And against the upper echelon of the division, that does tend to bite him on the butt. But he does have a mind for fighting, and he's a lot more tactical than he lets on. Well, that's it for the breakdown. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Michael, and stay safe.